the game of Guillotine, first, set up the game area. To do this, first, shuffle the noble deck and place it face down in the player area. Flip up the top 12 noble cards from the noble deck and place them face up in a line, from left to right. Place the guillotine marker next to the 12th card. Next, shuffle the action deck and place it face down in the player area. After setting up the game area, each player will set up their player area. Each player will be dealt 5 action cards. They may look at their cards, but should keep them secret from all other players. After the game area has been set up and each player's area has been set up, players are ready to start the game. The game of Guillotine plays out in 3 days, with each day ending when all 12 of the noble cards flipped up during the setup have been claimed or discarded. To start the first day, players will randomly choose one player to go first, and then play will continue in clockwise order. Each player's turn consists of 3 steps. The first step of a player's turn is to play an action card. This is an optional step, so if a player does not wish to play a card, they can skip to step 2. If the unpopular judge is at the front of the line during a player's turn, that player must skip step 1 and cannot play an action. Action cards help to add variety to the game. Some cards can sabotage other players, such as the missed action that allows you to choose a player and make them place the last noble they collected at the end of the line. Some cards can benefit you directly, such as the double feature that allows you to gain an additional noble from the line during step 2. Some mix up the nobles available for that day, such as the long walk, which reverses the entire order of the line. Some make the day longer, such as extra cart, which will add 3 nobles from the deck to the end of the line. And some make the day shorter, such as the Scarlet Pimpernel, that ends the day immediately after the player who played it completes their turn. If a player does choose to play an action, and the Master Spy card is currently in the line of nobles, always move this card to the end of the line immediately after playing the action. Slide all other cards down as needed. After any player plays an action card, place it face up in a discard pile. If the action card you played tells you to put the card in front of you, place it face up in your player area. After a player plays an action or skips step 1, they will move on to step 2, collecting the first noble in line. When you do this, take the card closest to the guillotine marker and place it face up in your player area. You must always place all nobles you gain face up so all players can see all noble cards you have. Several noble cards have text on them that give a player extra benefits during this step. For example, if a player adds a rival executioner to their player area, they will take the top card of the noble deck and add it to their collection of nobles. After gaining the general, add another noble from the deck to the end of the line, and slide all other cards down accordingly. If you take the clown, it does not go into your player area. This card is worth -2 points, and you may place it in any other player's area in an attempt to sabotage them. If you take Robespierre from the end of the line, immediately discard any remaining nobles from the line. Place them in your player area with the rest of your cards, and the day ends immediately. This card can be strategically taken by a player to ensure no other players score points for the day. After taking one noble, the player will move into step 3 and draw an action card from the action card deck. They will add the card they drew to their hand. This step completes their turn, and the player to their left will start their turn, beginning with step 1. The game of Guillotine plays out in 3 days. Each day ends in one of 3 ways. The first way is if a player plays an action card, such as this card. The player who played this card will finish out their turn. The second way is if Robespierre is taken from the front of the line by any player. The third way is if the last noble is taken from the line of cards. When this happens, the player who took the card will finish their turn by drawing their action card before the day ends. When a day ends, if it was not the 3rd day, players will flip up 12 new noble cards and start the next day. The player to the left of the player who started the last day will start the new day. All players will keep their action cards from their hand and all nobles they have collected for all 3 days, and will not discard them at the end of the day. The game ends after the third day is complete. When the game ends, all players will count the points on their noble cards, and points on any action cards they placed in front of them. For example, the church support card gives this player 1 extra point for each blue noble they played. Noble cards are worth either positive points, such as the bad nun, that is worth 3 points, or negative points, such as Hero of the People, which is worth negative 3 points. There are a few cards that have special scoring based on the other nobles that you have. For example, if you have both the Count and the Countess in your player area, you score 4 points for each, instead of 2 for each for having only one or the other. If you have a Palace Guard, it is worth varying points, based on how many you have collected during the game. For example, if you have 1 Palace Guard, it is only worth 1 point. If you have 2 Palace Guards in your player area, each of them is worth 2 points, so the pair is worth 4 points. If you have 3 Palace Guards, each of the cards is worth 3 points, so this set of 3 would be worth 9 points in total. The tragic figure is worth a varying amount of negative points based on the amount of gray-bordered cards you have in your area. If you only had the tragic figure as a gray card, you would only lose 1 point. But if you had the tragic figure, the martyr, and the hero of the people, the tragic figure card would be worth negative 3 points. As mentioned, action cards are also used in scoring. The only action cards used are those played during the game, so a player will not gain any points for the cards they still have remaining in their hand. The player who ends the game with the most points is the winner.